Welcome to CAN, Caribbean Affiliate News. My name is Siobhan Gubin. This segment of the news is sponsored by Total Caribbean Network. Here are the stories that we're following today, September 19th, 2013. In international news, Mexico's government said 58 people were missing after a massive landslide smashed through a tiny coffee-growing village deep in the country's southern mountains, where fresh waves of rain threaten more danger for rescue workers trying to evacuate the last residents from the isolated hamlet today. The same storm that devastated Acapulco and surrounding areas over the weekend regenerated into Hurricane Manuel and was swirling into the Pacific coast again, this time further north, just offshore from the Sinaloa state capital of Culiacan. The U.S. National Hurricane Center said the Category 1 hurricane was expected to move slightly inland and continue to dump rain on fishing villages. It is a third blow to a country still reeling from the 1-2 punch of Manuel's first landfall and Hurricane Ingrid on Mexico's eastern coast. Federal officials raised the death toll from the passage of Manuel and Hurricane Ingrid from 60 to 80 earlier yesterday. They said they were not yet including landslide victims in the village of La Pintada, several hours north of Acapulco, but they said it's very likely that these 58 missing people lost their lives. Sinaloa State Civil Protection Authority said some areas were already flooding and dozens were evacuated from small fishing villages. Heavy rains also began pelting the state of Guerrero again Wednesday night, increasing the risk for federal police trying to evacuate the last 45 residents of the village of La Pintada, where tons of dirt and rocks smashed through the center of town Monday night, burying a church and a number of two-story homes. Federal authorities reached La Pintada by helicopter and evacuated 334 people, some of whom are hurt, one seriously, said Interior Minister Miguel Angel Osorio Chong. Osorio Chong said there was a risk of more landslides for the federal police, who stayed in the village overnight and hoped to leave with the last 45 residents on helicopters. He said the landslide went right through the middle of the village of some 600 people, accessible in normal conditions by winding mountain roads, now broken multiple times by landslides and flooding. In Acapulco, 3 days of biblical rain and leaden skies evaporated into broiling late summer sunshine that roasted thousands of furious tourists trying vainly to escape the city, and hundreds of thousands of residents returning to homes devastated by reeking tides of brown flood water. The depth of the destruction wreaked by Manuel, which first hit Mexico on Sunday as a tropical storm, was highlighted when the Transportation Secretary said it would be Friday at the earliest before authorities could clear and reconnect the parallel highways that connect this Bayside resort to the rest of the world. The mother of Aaron, Alexis, said Wednesday that she does not know why her son opened fire at the Washington Navy Yard, killing 12 people, but she's glad he can no longer hurt anyone else. Kathleen Alexis read a brief statement Wednesday inside her New York home, her voice shaking. She did not want to appear on camera and did not take questions from a reporter. And I quote, "I don't know why he did what he did, and I'll never be able to ask him why. Aaron is now in a place where he can no longer do harm to anyone, and for that I am glad," Kathleen Alexis said. She says to the families of the victims, "I am so very sorry that this has happened. My heart is broken." Although his motive remains unknown, law enforcement officials and others have described a paranoid man who heard voices and believed he was being followed. At a Rhode Island hotel recently, he heard voices harassing him, wanting to harm him. He couldn't sleep. He believed people were following him using a microwave machine to send vibrations to his body. He changed hotels once, then again. Yet he called police and told them he couldn't get away from the voices. On August 7, police alerted officials at the Newport Naval Station about the naval defense contractor's call, but officers didn't hear from him again. By August 25th, Alexis had left the state. The 34-year-old arrived in the Washington area, continuing his work as an information technology employee for a defense-related computer company. Again, he spent nights in different hotels. He He suffered from serious mental problems, including paranoia and a sleep disorder, and was undergoing treatment from the Department of Veteran Affairs, according to the law enforcement officials. On Saturday, he visited Sharpshooter's Small Arms Range in Lorton, Virginia, about 18 miles southwest of the nation's capital. He rented an AR-15 rifle, bought bullets, and took target practice at the 16-lane indoor range. He tried to buy a handgun, but federal law prevented him from doing so because he had an out-of-state ID, the store's attorney said. He then bought a shotgun and 24 shells. The law allows stores to sell shotguns and rifles to out-of-state buyers. The Navy said several garages and all-surface parking lots at the Washington Navy Yard would open Wednesday for employees to retrieve their private vehicles, but the military installation would reopen for business for mission-essential personnel only. In a posting on its Facebook page, the Navy said the yard remains an active crime scene. Meanwhile, Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel ordered the Pentagon to review the physical security of all U.S. defense facilities worldwide and the security clearances that allow access to them. Hagel is also tasking an independent panel to undertake the same reviews. He said Wednesday, where there are gaps, we will close them. More than 24 hours after the shooting, the motive remained a mystery. U.S. law enforcement officials told the Associated Press that investigators had found no manifesto or other writings suggesting a political or religious motivation. In Canada, at least 6 people are dead and 33 others injured after a Via Rail train and an Ottawa city bus collided at a level crossing in the city's southwest on Wednesday morning. Officials in Ottawa said 5 people who were on the bus were confirmed dead at the scene, and another died in hospital after the train and a double-decker OC Transport bus collided. The bus driver is among the dead. Ottawa police would not confirm his name. At 4 p.m. media briefing, Ottawa Police Chief Charles Bordelot said 3 people who died in the crash have been positively identified. Authorities are now in the process of notifying their families. The crash happened at 8:48 a.m. near the intersection of Woodruff Avenue and Fallowfield Road. Ottawa Mayor Jim Watson said it's the worst bus accident in the city's history. And I quote, "In literally a moment, we lost 6 residents of our city. We had bodies and debris pretty much everywhere at the impact site," he said. Messiah said all the casualties occurred on the bus. There were passengers on the Via train at the time of the crash, he said, but no injuries were reported on the train. He said the train derailed approximately 100 to 200 feet down the rail. Photos from the scene show the front of the bus completely sheared off. The double-decker bus can carry up to 90 passengers on average, but it was not known how many people were on board at the time of the crash. Rebecca Goubolt, who was on the bus with her 1-year-old son when the collision occurred, she said she was texting her friend when other passengers began yelling at the bus driver to stop. She said she immediately ran off the bus with her son. TSB lead investigator Glenn Pillon said the agency's priority is to find the event recorder that was on the bus and the train's black box to determine the circumstances surrounding the collision. The TSB will also be checking the warning systems and the gate at the railway crossing to make sure they were working correctly at the time of the accident. 11 TSB staff members are currently at the crash site. Pillon couldn't say what speed either vehicle was traveling at the time of the crash or whether the drivers attempted to brake. The full TSB investigation could take months to complete, said Chief Operating Officer Jean Laporte. Local officials said there have been no accidents at the intersection where the crash occurred since 2002, the year the city started keeping traffic records for that area. You are watching Caribbean Affiliate News. We will be right back.
Hey, excuse me, if you see me smiling, that's 'cause I'm chilling on Total Caribbean Network. It's your boy Wyclef Jean, man, and I'm chillin', man. Total Caribbean Network. Man, I love their style. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Since we announced Sign and Drive with zero out of pocket and low monthly payments, cars been flying out of Bronx Honda at a record pace. Whoa! New Accord with zero out of pocket for $249 a month, or new Civics just $199 per month, or save thousands with 0% financing. You never had to leave the Bronx to get the best price on the Honda. Bronx Honda guarantees the lowest price in the Bronx. Bronx Honda, East Tremont Avenue. Visit BronxHonda.com.
I believe your mom let you take your car out. This is awesome.
It's time to grow up.
You're crazy.
Little wildflower.
Go faster. Stop.
It'll all be alright.
I raised my son to be careful,
Hey, sweetie.
Hey, Mom.
but just to be safe,
So don't you worry.
I got a Subaru.
Love. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
Coleman Subaru, 1710 North Alden Avenue, Ewing, New Jersey, or colemansubaru.com.